This DVD promotes both safety and rescue skills for sea kayakers. Rather than focusing only on problem solving, a safe approach to our sea kayaking can help to reduce the likelihood of things going wrong. This doesn't mean avoiding challenges or seeking the calmest conditions, but if we follow good group management principles, we can look forward to fewer problems on the water and be better prepared when issues do arise. This chapter takes a closer look at these principles of safe sea kayaking. Sea kayaking takes place in a complex coastal environment with a wide range of factors that can affect our paddling days. We need to consider weather forecasts, tidal information, swell, coastal hazards, and a host of other issues when planning our sea kayaking trips. The complexity of the ocean environment is part of the attraction for sea kayakers, but it does demand knowledge, judgment, and a careful approach to the sport. It's satisfying to work with wind, tide, and waves when planning safe sea kayaking trips. All this information helps us to build a picture of the likely conditions that we'll encounter and to choose a paddling area that suits our aims and abilities. Most importantly, we'll need to compare the actual conditions with those that we expected and be ready to plan flexibly. While afloat, we need to observe, plan, and anticipate changing conditions through the day. This is particularly important when we reach key decision points, such as headlands, tidal races, or no landing zones. It's good practice to anticipate the conditions we're likely to encounter in 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, and at the end of the day. This strategy will help you make informed, safe decisions afloat. We can experience changing sea conditions on the same stretch of coastline during the course of a day. We need to take these possible changes into account when planning our sea kayaking trips. Sea kayaking takes place in a dynamic, challenging environment. When things go wrong, it's an unforgiving place to be. Detailed planning is a key component of safe sea kayaking, allowing us to anticipate likely conditions, make informed decisions about paddling areas, and accurately plan trips that match our current levels of experience. It's important to remember that weather forecasts and tidal predictions are exactly that, forecasts and predictions. Actual conditions may differ from those expected. Timings of weather changes may vary, and tidal movements may change as a result of wind strength and direction. It's therefore important to take a dynamic and flexible approach to trip planning, comparing expected conditions with those we actually encounter on the water. Good communication is perhaps the most important element of a safe sea kayaking experience. With good communication, we can share information, discuss options, compare ideas, and agree plans that meet everyone's needs. This chapter introduces principles that should be observed whenever we sea kayak in a group environment. With experience, sea conditions can become quite predictable, but the responses of the people we paddle with are often much less clear. It's vital to consider this important human element of safe sea kayaking. Good communication begins with a shared plan, ensuring everyone is aware of the weather forecast, tidal picture, and likely conditions for the day. Sharing this information at the meeting point, discussing plans, and agreeing a route suitable for all team members is a vital element of a safe sea kayaking day. In any group, we may have different ability levels, confidence levels, and different attitudes to risk. Everyone will have their own view of a quality sea kayaking day. Our challenge is to manage these differences, keeping all group members safe and happy. It's important that everyone discusses and agrees the approach the group will take afloat. There may be formal leaders and followers, as in a professional situation, or the team might comprise peers who share leadership tasks afloat. In between, we have the challenging job of managing groups of paddlers with varying levels of experience. In this situation, clear agreements and discussions between group members are absolutely vital. We'll need to establish good communication before choosing a paddling area and before getting afloat. If we take time to discuss and agree strategies before launching, it's much easier to maintain communication and good decision making when conditions become more challenging. Group control is a key element of safe sea kayaking on open water. If paddlers become separated, it can take a lot of time and effort to bring people together. Paddling an accurate course is also much harder when group members are spread over a wide area. Make sure you agree a group control plan beforehand and stick to it. At the start of a sea kayak trip, it's a good idea to find a paddling area with safe water downwind where the challenges of the journey can be simulated. Upwind, downwind and crosswind courses make a useful warm-up and give everyone a chance to gauge their skills against the demands of the day. A venue with an easy launch, gradual exposure to open sea conditions and space to practice makes a good place to start the sea kayaking day. Ideally, it will also allow a number of route options according to the conditions encountered and the ability level of the group. The routes we choose to float can make a huge difference to our sea kayaking experiences. Route choice decisions can either protect us from or expose us to strong winds and rough water, and can either simplify or complicate our sea kayak journeys. Good route choice is the hallmark of a well-led party, while bad route choices are often the cause of many sea kayaking incidents. In light conditions and on simple journeys, our exact route choice may not be too important. In more challenging conditions, it can make a huge difference to the demands of the day. The course we shape from one target to another becomes an important consideration. It's a good strategy to break your journey down into shorter legs, with review points at the end of each leg to consider changing conditions and the likely challenges ahead. These legs will ideally go from one safe zone to another and will include key decision points to allow you to decide whether to continue or return to your start point. Route choice is an essential element of effective group management. The course we shape along a coastline can increase or reduce the difficulty and commitment for group members. Good route choice will allow us to effectively manage the conditions and give us a safe, flexible approach to leading groups on the sea. Route choice can involve the overall course we follow along the coastline and can also relate to the specific line we take through isolated areas of rough water. Get both these elements right and we're far more likely to avoid problems and have trouble-free sea kayaking days. Route choice will also influence the position that we adopt within a group. If leading others or if sharing the responsibility, we'll need to consider the effectiveness of our position in relation to other group members and to the hazards around us. Sea kayaking trips can expose us to a variety of hazards, including wind strength and direction, tidal streams, rocky coastlines and surf. If you're the leader of a sea kayaking group, a good principle is to place yourself between the other paddlers and the relevant hazard. We need to be flexible with this strategy, and it does demand a dynamic paddling approach, but it's an effective way of positioning yourself to avoid problems and deal with incidents. Group control afloat is important to maintain communication during the day. In calm conditions, it's often okay for paddlers to spread out over a fairly large area. In more challenging conditions, the gaps between individuals will need to be a lot smaller. A useful rule of thumb is for individuals to be able to communicate with their neighbours without raising their voice. This way, paddling groups can make decisions together and to respond to leaders' instructions. Here, a sea kayaking group is heading downwind towards a rocky bay with a wind-blown swell running. The team have agreed a plan before leaving the last bay, are close enough together to communicate, and are shaping a course to keep them in relatively safe water. The leader is well positioned to look after the group and to respond quickly to problems. At the end of the day, it's a good idea to review the trip, to reflect on experiences, conditions encountered and problems solved. Learning can then be shared between group members and strategies developed for the next paddling day, all of which helps to make us safer sea kayakers. So that's it. A few principles to help us get organised on the water, make good decisions and stay safe. Remember, we need to be flexible with our strategies and respond to the changing conditions. Remember also that it's the people we paddle with who are our most important concern. If everyone in the team is enjoying the right level of challenge, we may not need our rescue skills very often. But there's no excuse not to practice them, and the rest of this DVD looks at some problem-solving techniques.